Right, let's get cracking with the show. The biggest game of the weekend is undoubtedly the London derby tonight between Tottenham and Chelsea, live on Sky Sports. Always an epic game, goals galore in this fixture. And as we've got a Tottenham fan and a Chelsea fan in the studio, we thought we'd do a classic combined 11. A few little rules with this one, Joe.
Yeah, a few little tweaks, actually. We've asked both of our guests to bring their strongest 11 to the table. So we're discounting long-term injuries. So no Levi Colwill, no Kulusevski Matters, Dom Solanke.
Yeah, a lot of players out.
But it is both of your strongest 11. We'll match up position by position and we'll see how to build out this combined 11 that way.
Matisse has got his best Chelsea, you've got your best Spurs. I think it's only fair as well, as I am a Tottenham fan, if Joe has the
I'll have the final
vote.
say, and you don't have to put forward a player. So if you think the opposition's player is stronger, you can just concede that position if you want to. Okay. So let's start with the goalkeepers. You both go in to pitch your goalkeeper forward.
Yeah.
Sanchez, I think you've gone for?
Yeah, I've gone with Sanchez.
Versus Guillermo Vicario. Are either of you conceding here? You're not happy with your keeper?
No, I'm prepared to put Vicario forward. I think over maybe if you did this a couple of weeks ago, I think this debate would probably be a little bit closer than it is now. But I think with the performances that Vicario's put in against Monaco and against Everton last weekend as well, I think he's responded to a lot of the criticism really well. I think a lot of Spurs fans, including myself, were saying that maybe someone like Antonin Kinski should be given a few more opportunities as a rotation option in the Cup and maybe in the Champions League and some of the weaker ties. But I think Vicario has proved over the past couple of games how good a shot stopper he is. There are elements of his game that's still a little bit frustrating. He can be a little bit inconsistent. But and you could say a lot the same about Sanchez, to be honest, but I don't think Sanchez has had a game at the level of what Vicario has had against Monaco, where he single-handedly kept us in that, and against Everton as well. He was very, very strong.
I think they're his best two games in a Spurs shirt.
Definitely.
All came last week, Monaco and Everton. I think shot stopping. He's already got as many Premier League clean sheets as the entirety of last season, which obviously is a crazy stat, which goes to prove how much Thomas Frank has shored it up defensively. Talk to me about Sanchez.
Yeah, I think that the only big game where you look at him where it didn't go right was maybe Man United away, where he obviously got the red card. But outside of that, to be honest, when you look at the goals we conceded, I don't think a lot of them, or many of them, if any, are really his fault. There's a lot of individual errors, there's a lot of red cards, there's a lot of defenders making moments out of nothing. But for him, his shot stopping is still there. I think his cross collection is still there as well. Yeah, he does kind of give you uneasy moments, maybe with the distribution, but I think he's well within his right to go up against Vicario a little bit. Yeah.
Based on, as we're doing this, based on this season, and obviously we don't know if you're conceding or you want Vicario. Who would you go for based on this season out of the two?
I think recently you'd edge it to Vicario, but I don't think there's much to split them.
I'd agree with that. I don't think there's loads in it, but I'm just seeing those recent performances.
Respectfully, I can see. So let's get Vicario up there.
In you go.
And then we'll go to right back. Now, this is an interesting one for you, Matisse, I think. Who are you pitching forward as your best right back? Because I know there's a Reece James magnet floating around in there as well.
There is a Reece James magnet floating around in here. I'm looking at the team that we could play today as well later on.
Right.
And Maresca does like to play two right backs, but we'll go Reece James to go right back.
Ooh. And just to confirm, you've changed that, haven't you? Because
I've looked in his eyes.
You got gusto.
I've looked in his eyes and I've seen some doubt. And I heard you say Reece James. I looked at him. He's ready to concede.
But
this position.
each of them have played sort of a midfield and a right back role.
And they're interchangeable.
So who's better in the right back and who's better in the midfield?
I think Reece James is a better player. So I think he's the better player in both positions.
Okay.
I think he's the better passer. He's the better shooter. He's the better decision maker in the final third. But he's also the better defender.
But interesting. Where do you think his best position is then? I think we all think it's right back, but you had him as centre mid in your team. So where do you think his best position is?
I think for this game you're going to see him potentially in the defence in the right side centre back position. We kind of tend to build out from a three. Cucurella will venture forward and go flying forward. But I think with Reece James we've been protecting him from his injuries as well, which we've done a brilliant job of. By the way, he's not been injured for over a year. He's a brilliant defender. You saw him go centre back against Liverpool into a back two with Hato when we had a lot of injuries and players coming off. He was brilliant. He wins his aerial duels. He's physical, but he's also very good at playing out from the back as well. And I think that's where maybe he beats Gusto in that respect. If you're doing build-up play, you're looking to kind of be expansive, play through lines. I would trust Reece James to make more important passes.
Yeah.
Porro, though, has been underrated this year, hasn't it?
I think so, yeah. I am probably happy to concede it to Reece James just because of how complete he is and how well he's done and how consistently he's performed since he's been back from injury. But I think it's important to give Porro some prop because I feel like there's quite a lazy narrative around him sometimes in terms of his defensive ability. If you look at his metrics for this season, the amount of attacking and defensive metrics that he ranks first for, they are per 90, and sometimes that inflates it because he plays a lot of minutes. Like this guy, Touchwood, has not got injured yet so far, I don't think, for Spurs. Played the most amount of minutes under Ange. He's so incredibly durable and is crucial to our build-up. Like, that's probably one of the things that Spurs have been struggling with the most so far this season. Him kind of tucking into that back three over the last few games, almost similar to what you said about Reece James, is helping us. I don't think I can get him in over Reece James, to be honest, but I do think Porro deserves a lot of praise.
I think I would have edged Reece James.
Yeah, joint most passes played into the opposite
I
box
think so.
of any player in the Prem. Joint most passes as much. It does like to get forward. I didn't like the fact that you said the injury comment with 10 players out and then 10 players in the
Ben, you might have to help him.
But yeah, I think Reece James, I think we all just want him to stay injury-free.
Yeah. That's what worries me about today, because these games are always chaos and we always end up with someone injured, so it's just like...
Let's do centre-back pairing.
Yeah, let's do it as a 2.
Good luck, Matisse.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, Matisse.
Good luck.
You took a deep breath in. Is this 2 that you're probably going to concede with then, judged on breath?
Yeah, I rate Tottenham's centre-backs highly. I think Ange last season, a lot of kind of criticism was coming for their centre-backs, but really, when you look at the tactics, the high line that they were playing, you're kind of leaving them, with no place to go. When you actually look at them as individuals, as players, they're brilliant on the ball. Ball carrying's fantastic from Van der Ven. He gets goals. Romero, fantastic on the ball as well. Great passer, aggressive.
Doing Ben's job for
leadership. I'm sorry, but
you know what though?
In comparison to what we have at the moment, it is chalk and cheese.
Great point.
Yeah.
I think there was such a false narrative about these 2 centre-backs last season because of the amount of goals Spurs can score. If you actually watched Tottenham last season with the inverted fullbacks, barely playing with the defensive midfielder, there was so much work for them to do. You actually look at this system now, and they're playing with holding midfield players, defenders that are more compact. And they're just such a good duo. And you really notice it when one of them doesn't play and you take one of them out of the team.
For sure. But actually now, Romero's obviously back for today. Spent a little bit of time on the sidelines recently. I think Van der Ven has massively stepped up as a leader in this side as well. He's been named as part of the leadership group. I think you're seeing his defensive ability improve a lot more as well.
Top scorer in the Prem this season.
Yeah, exactly. He can become, like, I hate to say this because I hate Arsenal, but he can become our kind of Gabriel, really, that threat in both boxes. It's amazing, really, that he'd never scored a headed goal for us before last season. We never really utilised that. Actually, in the air as well, he was a little bit weak at times under Ange, maybe shirking some of his aerial duels at times, but he's a unicorn of a centre-back. So unique. The pace is incredible. Romero is one of the best on-the-ball defenders in the world, I think, and hopefully if he can get back today, you're going to see a monstrous performance from them both. But I think it's got to be.
Let's put the Spurs boys up.
50% win rate when he plays, Romero.
We can show what he would have had
when he doesn't play.
I want to give a shout to Josh Achampong because he absolutely has to get just a bit of credit. He's been fantastic. He's 19. He's come into this very unstable defence where a lot of the seniors have been making individual errors and making mistakes, and he's been brilliant. His ball carrying ability, his speed in behind to kind of cover up, any mistakes or any loose balls. I just think he deserves a lot of credit. He's going places. He's got a massive future.
Left back.
A bit of a debate on this one as well, I believe. you're both.
I'm definitely going to put my player up for this.
I'm going to pitch for this.
Are you actually going to pitch for this ahead of Cucurella? I think this is an interesting shout because a lot of people would have instinctively gone Cucurella.
Also, just to add into that, you haven't put Jed Spence in your team. Obviously, he broke into the England squad, very good one-on-one defender. You've gone Udogie over Jed Spence, which is a great option for Tottenham to have. But just interested to know why you've gone Udogie over Spence.
I think Udogie is the more complete option. I think Jed Spence is a specialist when it comes to his one-on-one defending. Also, I think you're seeing him slightly limited from an attacking point of view because he is playing on the wrong side, and I think it does actually harm us as a side from going forward sometimes when Spence is in the team. Makes it a little bit imbalanced. It's not his fault necessarily, he's just playing over there on the wrong side. I think Udogie from an attacking point of view unlocks a lot more from this team. I think you saw it in a couple of games against Leeds, and I think the previous game as well where Odobert played on the left wing, Udogie played at left back, and Simmons kind of played as the 10 drifting out over to there. Those three formed a really, really nice relationship, and Udogie was allowed to kind of make those third man runs, burst into the space in behind. You saw his power and athleticism. Again, Cucurella has been brilliant for the last couple of years. Udogie has spent a lot of time out injured. I think if we're going when they're both kind of in their kind of peak, when Udogie is fit and Cucurella's fit, I don't think there's loads actually in it. Although for what Cucurella's done over the past couple of years, I think you have to edge it to him. But I definitely think when he's at it, Udogie, there is a debate there to be had. They're quite different as well.
Yeah, very different.
Cucurella's better, I'd say, on the ball. He inverts in. Udogie did that under Ange at times, but I think you prefer Udogie maybe a little bit tighter to the touchline, making those runs in beyond the defence. But I think Cucurella, I'm happy to kind of go with that.
Where do you think he ranks the best left-backs in the league?
In the league, I think he's definitely, in terms of form and longevity over the last 18 months, he's got to be top. Now, if we're going obviously in recent form, obviously Calafiori's been brilliant this season. There's others as well. But in terms of what he's been doing since the back end of Poch last 5 games, then going away with Spain, we've seen him in Euros, Nations League, and then at Chelsea last season, fantastic, and this season again. So I think the form that he's in and how reliable we were on him to almost score goals last season as well, and then box crashing, as well as his defending and his ability to kind of play multiple positions. You'll see him at left back, you'll see him in centre midfield, you'll see him in the twin tens. You kind of just see him everywhere. So he's become a leader for us as well.
I think if I was as the neutral here, I am going to side with Cucurella. Just think his all-round game is just so strong, especially 1v1 defender. So let's get him up.
And also bearing in mind, Doggy hasn't.
I think he's only started 3 or 4 games
this season.
I think, should we do the midfield 3? Because there's a bit of a different balance, I think. So let's see all of your midfield 3.
Well, he's only got 2, don't forget, because he originally had Reece James, but I
had to make that change.
Well, that's fine.
You can put forward 2, you can put forward 3. However you want, because I know Ben's got 3 names.
Technically I've got 4. If I'm counting the left winger as a midfielder, but I'll go with the actual midfield 3.
Okay, let's go with your actual midfield 3.
So let's look at Matisse's first and explain the 3 there.
So tactically, in this type of game, the reason why Gusto is here is just purely because based on that Liverpool game, where it was, a bit of back and forth and 2 evenly-ish matched teams on the day, he was massive tactically, and that was our best performance of the season. Yeah. It's really difficult to get like a Santos in here, and there's a lot of other injuries. Lavia's not played much, Palmer's not played much, so I can't really vouch for them. But on our best performance of the season, this guy was vital. Off the ball, tracking runners, working hard, counter-pressing. He did the ugly job. It wasn't beautiful, it wasn't nice to watch, but it had to be done. He's not a natural midfielder. I am ready to probably concede this one, but he had to be in the conversation just purely because of the injuries.
And I think it is just a reminder for people at home, you can't pick injured players here. So you can't pick long-term injured. So players like Cole Palmer can't get into...
And another reminder, it's based on this season, not necessarily the game against Spurs, but it's based on performances this season. So,
is there a player that definitely has to go in for you, Ben?
João Palhinha. I think with the way that he's come in this season, I was a little bit not unsure on the transfer, but I thought only because I thought maybe we needed someone in there who could progress the ball a little bit better. But I think what you've seen him do in terms of the impact that he's had, I think he's averaging over 5 tackles a game in the Premier League. He's made more tackles and interceptions than anybody. We're seeing the Palhinha that we saw at Fulham. Like I said, in the summer, I maybe did want a slightly more progressive option, but I think if you can find the right partner for him, which I think Spurs are starting to do now, not necessarily in terms of his actual partner, but the way we're starting to build up, you don't see as many of the issues that maybe Palhinha might actually bring to the side, and he brings way more good than bad anyway. Like he's just we've had a lot of good defensive midfielders at Tottenham over the years, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like it in terms of his ability to win the ball back. He's like, you'd go in the trenches with him, you go to war for this guy, like it's incredible.
It's interesting you say that actually, because as soon as I heard we're in for, I was so excited because I felt as a Spurs fan we had so many technically good midfielders, but we didn't have anyone to his level that could break up play, win duels, win tackles, and that's exactly what he does. He does that ugly side of the game, for want of a better phrase, really well. And like you're right in saying, most tackles won of any player in the Premier League this season, and some big goals.
Yeah, he's a genuine goal.
Is he in your team, your combined 11, Palhinha?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so let's get him up.
I'm guessing there's another Chelsea player that's probably in both yours. If you stick Palhinha up, you both agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Caicedo's in both of yours?
Absolutely. Player of the season last year for us, just ridiculous midfielder. I think he's played to world-class levels this season. He's been getting goals. He's still integral in terms of off the ball. I think sometimes he's almost a 6 and a holding midfielder on his own at times, tackles, interceptions, putting out fires, and then he's still progressing play and he's still passing into dangerous positions.
Is he the best deep line midfielder in the league?
For me, he is, yeah. Now, obviously, Rodri's out injured, and I think Rodri is, the Ballon d'Or winner and the guy that once he's fit and playing at his peak level, you have to put respect on his name. But in terms of in form right now, for me, in terms of well-roundedness, I think he can do absolutely everything.
Let's get Ben's take on that. Who is the best holding midfield player in the Premier League this season, do you think?
I think it's Moises Caicedo. I do. I think there's naturally this debate between him and Declan Rice, which I actually think becomes a little bit redundant considering how different they are as players. I think in terms of pure defensive midfielder, I would go Caicedo.
And they complement each other well because Palhinha most tackles in the Premier League this season and Caicedo most interceptions in the Premier League.
I mean, that would be an amazing midfield.
That is a tough two to get past.
So now we need the 10.
So I've not gone for Javi Simons in the 10. I've gone for, as a more attacking-minded midfielder, Lucas Bergvall or Pat Matisse, one of those two guys. to get in there. I think Lucas Bergvall is such an amazing talent, and I actually prefer him when he plays slightly deeper for Tottenham, and that's what I was kind of saying about Paulinho earlier. If you could get someone like him who could be a little bit more progressive, allow Paulinho to just break up the play, but we've not seen that much. We've seen Frank play him a little bit further forward, which I actually don't think complements his biggest skill set, but I think the talent that he's got, he's in this kind of conversation. But Pat Matisse, if you're not, Spurs haven't played with a natural 10 a lot this season. We've kind of played with Simmons on the left, drifting into those areas. I think Sarr is almost actually the better option, because if Spurs are going to go more direct, which we have done at times, this guy's ability to win second balls is up there with the best in the league. He covers so much ground. He's a goal threat in and around the box as well. I think I'd probably edge it towards Sarr out of these two, but he's going up against Bergvall,
because I without sounding like a broken record on this show, I've chatted with people that work behind the scenes on this show that always ask me about why I love Bergvall so much. I think only Spurs fans see it with Bergvall, don't they?
Yeah.
Like how talented his guy
You'll see
is
it
when
soon,
you watch it 90 minutes, like the ceiling he's got. But
Enzo?
Good debate. You're going Enzo.
I don't think Enzo's having his strongest season. However, I think those options are weaker than he is in terms of he's played a lot more minutes, he's a lot more integral, he's half of the time the captain, and he's still getting goals. And I just feel with those two, Simmons has played a lot in the 10. You don't really tend to see either of them play too often at the moment under Frank. He tends to go with Bentancur, he tends to go with Paulinho.
We've seen, to be fair, I think Bergvall started a lot of games in that 10 position. Simmons has been half on the left, playing as a 10 drifting inside, but half actually
I think
playing.
we have to go on this.
I'm actually gonna go for Enzo.
Okay.
I actually really like Enzo. I think he's actually underrated. I think his fee is held against him quite heavily. So I'm going to go for Enzo, but I can see the logic behind perhaps Sarr as well.
Do we go right wing next?
Right wing. Is this going to be a battle? Are you going to both pitch forward a player?
You both, again, as I say,
Any conceding?
Any conceding?
No,
I don't want to concede.
I don't want to concede either.
Go on then, pitch Esteval.
Esteval is our best winger. He is our best winger. And I know maybe, what does that mean? Well, that means for me that an 18-year-old's come into this league in his first season, new culture, new language as well, and he's just been brilliant. He's absolutely been outstanding. I think, yes, he's going to miss some chances. Yes, he's going to give the ball away a bit when he's on the 1v1 on the dribble, but he's a breath of fresh air. He's so refreshing. He's so exciting to watch. And he's been the person that anytime he steps onto the pitch, whether it's off the bench or starting, you know that he's going to create an opportunity. You look at the Liverpool game, for instance, creates a massive chance for Enzo Fernandez, scores, box crashing, and he's just a live wire.
Great goal midweek.
Yeah.
Kudus.
Kudus has been brilliant. He's been on fire for us this season. I think there was a little bit of scepticism around the transfer because of how poor a season he had at West Ham last year. I think there was kind of circumstances around that. I think he wanted the move the year before, and I think he's showing now why he warranted a bigger move away from West Ham. 5 goal contributions for us so far in the league. So much of our attacking players gone through him. Again, if you look at the metrics, Frank's like, I think, first for crosses into the penalty area. His dribbling stats are just ridiculous. He's so strong as well. I do really like Esteval, but I just think Kudus, in terms of how robust he is, as a more complete option where the Premier League is right now, in terms of physicality, everything, I think it's got to be Kudus.
I know the ceiling for Esteval is unbelievable. If we are basing it on this season, though, Premier League high successful dribbles, Premier League high assists, surely that's
I think if it's this season, I am going to go Kudus, but I do think Esteval has one of the highest ceilings.
I agree, I think ceiling-wise, but the basis is this season.
Can we not just stick Esteval left wing?
You could have made the argument from there, I think.
He doesn't play. I don't think he plays often enough in the 10 for me to pitch him there, and I also don't think that's his best position for us right now. I think the right wing is much more.
Okay, let's go left wing.
Okay,
you got
left wing.
So I've got Xavi Simmons.
Okay, what do we think at the start of the season of Xavi?
It's not been the best, obviously. I think there was an adaptation period from players coming to the Bundesliga to get up to speed with the pace and the kind of intensity. I think you've seen him grow over the last couple of games. I think people are going to latch onto moments where he's maybe given the ball away. At times, everyone kind of went mad about the Rabona against Leeds when we were through on goal, and it's like, it was a bit frustrating, but you want those kind of maverick players to try things like that, because more often than not, they are going to come off. Against Everton as well, there was a couple of misplaced passes on transition, a couple of poor situations where you'd expect him to do better. But I think you are starting to see him grow. I thought he had a good game against Newcastle in the week, and I actually think the part of the reason you're not seeing the best out of him is a little bit because he needs to do more. Of course, you expect him to kind of grab the game a little bit more than he has, even though we have seen him do that in spells. I thought against Brighton, he was excellent, had a good debut against West Ham. But I also think the system in the first sort of 7 or 8 games stifled him a little bit. Our ball progression, we weren't progressing the ball centrally at all. We were kind of passing the ball sideways, backwards, around the back, then we'd ping the ball up the line to Kudus from Porro and hope that he could do something. We weren't getting players like Simmons into the game. Like against Aston Villa, so many Spurs fans would have seen the graphic of the passing network, which is not playing the ball to him.
Yeah.
But over the last couple of games, we've changed our build-up shape, and I think he's getting into the game a little bit more.
Do you want to stick with Pedro Neto? I will allow Esteval left wing if you want to play at Esteval slightly out of position.
I would prefer to do Esteval at left wing, but it's difficult for me because Pedro Neto, I think he's contributed more to us this season than you could say Simmons has contributed at Spurs. He still did get the assist in the winner against Forest. He still had a very good performance in the first 3 games, I think, against
2
Fulham.
goals, 2 assists.
Yeah, Fulham, West Ham. He was in a great run over the Club World Cup and the back end of last season, and he did contribute a lot, but it's just the inconsistencies, I think, in his crossing and his final third play.
I'm going rogue. I'm going out of position. I want Esteval in the team somehow.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I'm going Esteval left wing. And I know...
I'm more than happy with that.
It is unfair.
I'm more than happy with that.
I think he has to be in there somewhere.
I'm more than happy
We don't have loads of time, so we're going to do a very
it.
quick striker decision. We're
Superb.
going to have to help him out.
What is that? Joe is very particular. Right, strikers, who are you going with? Obviously, a bit of injury. Solanke's not played.
Yeah.
Spurs.
That's why I've gone for Randall Colomwani.
Okay.
It's a very, very small sample size.
For the appearances there.
Honestly, I will say is an all-round option. Richarlison's obviously scored 3 goals this season for us, but as an all-round option, I think I've seen more from Randall Colomwani in the last few games than I have seen from Richarlison in terms of the link-up play. I think if you're doing it on the season right now, it's difficult, obviously, because he's not played loads of minutes, but his link-up play is clean, he's good. I think he's going to improve Tottenham as the season goes on, but it's difficult to argue him right now.
Yeah.
João
Pedro is going for a bit of a run at the moment with not taking shots when I'm going for the striker position here. But in his defence, what I will say is, last weekend, I think his performance wasn't good enough, but I think overall his performances have actually been a lot better than people would say for the goals that he's got in the return. Remember, a lot of games Chelsea have gone to 10 men. Manager's taken off a lot of attackers in some games. He's not really had any service or support. A lot of the time this season with the 10 men, he's 6 red cards in the last 9. He's played isolated, and he's still had all of the kind of technique, the quality to link up play, to dribble, and to bring others in. So
I think based on the fact that we haven't seen enough of Colomwani, I'm going to go for Pedro. But I'm actually not happy I've ended up with more Chelsea magnets on board.
I'm not either.
I think that's poor decision making from my perspective. I apologise.
I think with the striker position, if we had a fully fit Dom Solanke, I think he'd be in this team.
Yeah.
I just think he brings so much to us. And I think that's why I went for Colomwani, because he's bringing more to Spurs as a side.
There you go. Anyway, let's ask the people at home what they think. There is confirmation of a combined Chelsea-Tottenham 11. I'm a bit
I'm not
gutted
happy.
there's more
I'm not happy
Chelsea
with
than
that.
Spurs as a Tottenham
It's
fan.
the Enzo.
But let us know what you think of that at home.